Hey, I'm Vika from About English.com, a website for active English learners. And this is a series of videos with English teachers who share their knowledge and tips with you. Today, my guest is Daniela Przybyszewska. She's an English teacher who's been living in California for more than 10 years. And today, we're going to talk about English grammar and how to improve it, even if you don't like it or you are afraid of it. First, we will talk about misconceptions of learning grammar and how to overcome common blocks and fears. And then we will share with you a step by step plan that will help you finally feel confident that you speak English. I can't wait to share this conversation with you, and I hope that you will find it helpful. And if you do, please let me know in the comments. Okay, let's get started. Hi, Daniela. So nice to see you here. How are you?
Hey, Vika, so nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, it's an honor for me to have you here. So, okay, guys. So Daniela, she is like she loves grammar, and for me, it's kind of a little bit tricky. Like, I even don't like grammar, let alone how you can love it. Come on, like, what made you to love grammar? Can you explain?
Yeah, sure. I like it because it's logical. You can definitely see the rules and follow the rules, and you can kind of like make sure that you're saying it in the correct way if you see the rule. But I don't know, when I was a kid, I think I was in fourth grade, and I just realized that it was so easy for me to just grasp the idea, even like not going home and opening my books. It was just during the class when I understood what the teacher was saying. And it was just, I don't know, I just kind of got it. So, of course, I feel like we as human beings, we tend to like what we're good at. So maybe that's why I like grammar. But yeah, it's just a tool to like make sure that you're learning a language or you're speaking or writing in the correct way. So
Yeah, I agree. And grammar is like inevitable if you're gonna speak English or do anything in English for sure. But
yeah, not only English, we all speak in a grammatical way in our own languages as well. Of course, we don't notice it because we've been
yeah,
speaking our languages.
in your native tongue is like so many things come
Yeah.
natural. Especially if you just read a lot, you kind of get the feeling of language. It's so easy. I mean, I never had such issues with the Russian grammar, but okay. But what to do if, like, let's say I don't like grammar and I'm not sure that I'm ever would love it, but I still need it. How to be more confident with grammar?
Well, the truth is, like most people don't like grammar. Um, I rarely hear somebody who says like I love grammar, even though there are some weirdos like me. But but most people say, yeah, like I hate grammar. I wish I could just speak the language and not think about grammar.
Yeah,
And that's totally fine. You can't push yourself to love something that you would never love. That you just can't. It's just a habit, I would say. You just need to see grammar as a step, as like a tool towards um, improving or making you better in the target language and the language that you're learning. So it's not, don't just use grammar as this abstract like grammar. I hate grammar, the word grammar. It's just like break it down to different like sentences and rules, and what am I learning, what am I trying to achieve by studying, for example, I don't know, present perfect, let's say, or conditionals. People for some reason have like very difficult time with conditionals in English. So it's you just need to know your goal and like have small goals. Don't just talk about grammar like this crazy abstract word, which is not going to lead you anywhere, and you won't even want to open a book or like study anything. So
yeah, and I remember that you kind of, I think you shared the story with a guy who, I think he didn't like writing or something, and he tricked.
yes, just trick your brain. Yes, I remember this story. So when I was in the university, there was this writer who was telling his story, and he has published books. It's not like he hasn't. He is a writer, and he was saying how he doesn't like writing, and people were asking him, "How can you publish books and be a writer. That's your profession if you don't like writing. And he said, I just trick my brain. I never use the word writing like I'm writing. He said, today, for example, if I have to write something, I'm using the word outline. Like, oh, I'm just going to go and outline something. No pressure. I don't even have to write it. Like, I'm going to outline it. And then the next day, he says, oh, I'm editing today. I'm just going to edit my outline. So basically, by using different words, not writing, but just outlining and editing, he's tricking himself to do the work because he is actually doing the work, but he's not doing the actual writing. It's always outlining and editing. It's the same with grammar. Don't say like, oh gosh, like I have to study grammar now. Man, I hate it so much, but I have to study
Yeah,
grammar.
yeah.
Like, just like explain it in a different way to you. Like, what am I actually trying to say to the person? What am I trying to learn? Don't say conditionals or conjunctions. You know, use words like, for example, conjunctions like and or, you know, stuff like this. Or for conditionals, okay, like I'm going to use different times now in order to express my thought. What am I trying to say here? And yeah, don't just think about it being deep grammar.
Okay, so we got inspired by all this amazing people, and what we're gonna do next? Should we go to a teacher, or should we take courses, or what to do?
Well, everybody is different. Some people are really self-learners and some people, you know, need guidance. I feel especially in the beginning, most people would need some kind of guidance. So it's a good idea to like maybe look for teachers, know what you want, know what you like, look for a teacher that would fit your maybe personality or maybe your learning style, and just start. And eventually when you start and you keep going, you'll understand more what you need. Like if you need more teachers or more time with the teacher, or you can just learn on your own, depending on what time you have, depending on your lifestyle, and depending on how fast you want to see results. Because some people just learn for the sake of learning it. They don't really need to move to a different country, or I mean, they don't need it for a job. It's just, you know, they would love to learn a different language, in particular English, because it's such an international language. But for some people, need it really fast. So you just need to know what your needs are, and like just plan accordingly.
So I also think that then you go to a teacher, it's like then you come to a teacher, and he or she could just tell you straight away, like, what are your mistakes? Like just by listening to you, by seeing your text, so you can just be diagnosed straight away. And it's easier than you just trying to understand what you actually know and what you don't.
Well, first, well, if you don't, basically, if that's gonna happen if you know, but if you don't know anything, let's say you're just a like beginner, you don't even make any mistakes because you're not even speaking practically. So like you need to know your level. But no, I mean, if you're a little bit more advanced and if you go to a teacher, usually the teacher is a good teacher will ask you, like they would make it like a conversation. What are your goals? What do you think where do you think you're struggling the most? Is it pronunciation? Is it grammar? If it's grammar, what kind of structure? You know, teachers would like to know your perception and your struggles. It's like going to the doctor. Like if you go and you walk into the doctor's office and the doctor doesn't start speaking like, okay, here is what I think you have, like this, and this, like a diagnosis, and you're not saying anything. It's usually like, as you pay,
Yeah, you're a doctor. You need to know like everything about this right away.
That was probably like back in the days in our
You know,
communistic doctors that you're not allowed to say anything. But
yeah.
now it's more like a conversation. A doctor would ask you, let's say you're sick, you don't feel well. You're gonna make an appointment, you walk in and the doctor is gonna listen to you. Okay, tell me, how do you feel? Why are you here? Right?
Mm.
Do you have fever? Do you, I don't know, are you coughing? Do you feel bad? Like, or maybe it's just like pain somewhere in your body. Like, did you hurt your leg or something like this, or your spine? You know, the doctor doesn't just see your face and the first second they know what's going on with you. They need to have this back and forth conversation, ask you how long have you been feeling that way, you know, any other symptoms, your lifestyle, like anything like this. It's the same with the teacher. The teachers can ask you what what your struggles are and how like you see your future with like in the language and how do you want to learn. And sometimes, you know, sometimes it might not even be the same. Your perception might be not what the teacher perceives. Like sometimes you might think that you're terrible at one thing, but you're actually really good or better than you think. But you might not, you might have like some other areas that you can work on. So here the teacher would tell you, okay, you know, I think like you could focus on this, this, and this. Um, and and sometimes the student would be like, oh wow, like I've never thought about this. So you know, it's a relationship between the student and the teacher.
By the way, is it easy for you to catch mistakes like straight away? I mean, you are not a native speaker, and it's like if it's your own language, it's very easy to notice, and you like straight away you get it straight away. But what about English? Is it like the same, or you need some time to think?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the mistakes. Some mistakes are very obvious, you know, like especially in writing, you can see the document in front of you, and if it's like
Yeah,
a
easy.
very obvious mistake, you catch it. Or if a person is talking to you, but it like using a different grammar, kind of, or maybe mispronouncing something, it's definitely very obvious. You don't even have to be a native speaker to catch mistakes, because if you know the language well, like you kind of pay attention. But it depends, because when it doesn't interfere with understanding what the person is saying, like you notice it and you just it just go away. Like you move on, you keep listening the actual message that the person has to say. You don't dwell on the mistake, like, oh, she dropped the S in third person, ooh. It's just, you know,
But you remind me again about a video. I watched a video recently. The guy, he's a teacher, and he's like five things that will tell you that you're a teacher. And he was like, I was speaking with my pal, and then you start correcting your friends' grammar mistakes. This is like you real teacher. Do you correct your friends' mistakes?
Actually, no, I actually don't. Sometimes I'll correct my husband, but that's he's the only person. But but no, I actually don't, because first sometimes my tongue is itching, like, oh, I need to say something, but I don't.
Yeah, you have it.
You know, you have the urge to say, but you're like, okay, that's not my student.
Mm.
You know, they might be aware. And also, you know, a lot of people are aware. For example, for me, sometimes I make a mistake. It's not like I never make mistakes sometimes, and not because I don't know, but it's sometimes I'm too fast and I want to say something. And I immediately notice it, like a second later, like I already know I made a mistake. But and I don't need like somebody to tell me, "Ooh, you made a mistake right now." I know it. It's just it doesn't matter sometimes. And same with other people. Now I work with a lot of people from different countries,
Mhm.
and not just as a teacher, like in my other job. And we have, I think, like 44 languages. Obviously, everybody has their own way of speaking, but I just can't like, you know, interrupt people and be like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I know you made a mistake.
Yeah, and they're gonna be like, did I ask you? I mean, you know, who cares? Yeah, no, I usually don't. And I have friends also, you know, one of my really good friends here in the States is Russian, and like we talk to each other, and I mean, we perfectly understand each other. And like when she asked me, I would tell her, but otherwise, I'm not gonna be like analyzing her speech, you know,
Mhm,
uh,
mhm.
if I don't have to.
I have the same with my friends who are native speakers. They usually don't try to correct you because like they don't communicate with you because of your, I don't know, that you don't make mistakes. They communicate with you because of you, because they are kind of
Yeah.
interested in you. What are you gonna say? It's not about mistakes for sure.
Exactly. And it's awkward to correct the person all the time, even if the person asks you, because sometimes people complain, well, I asked my native speaker friends to correct me and they never do. They did it once. And because people don't want to be mean and rude, like they might say one or two things, but they're not going to stop you like after every second word. It's just not, it's awkward for people. If they understand you, of course. If they don't understand you, they're
Yeah,
they
that's
probably ask a
mm,
follow up.
Okay, so now I feel like less afraid of starting this journey to grammar. And actually, I wanted to share with you my plan how I'm gonna do it. So I found this book. It's a Russian book, Russian grammar book, and I feel that it's really good book. So my plan is to read one chapter a week maybe and implement it. So I'm gonna do it by myself, right? So is it a good plan or no?
No, that's actually a stupid plan. I'm just kidding.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. I can tell you this because we're friends. No, I'm just joking, of course. Okay, so we usually, because you're so advanced and you're already talking, like speaking, like really well, you need to identify where your struggles are and like what exactly you want to concentrate on and just go to that chapter. Like for example, let's say you have a little bit of an issue with modals in English or with like, I don't know, past perfect. Just go in and work on this. Don't start from chapter 1, which is, I don't know, like simple past. If you don't have any problems with, let's say, present progressive, why are you going to waste your time reading the chapter just because it's like chapter 1 or chapter 2? Just, look for different chapters and where you need to work on and you need to advance more on. So I mean, it's not a grammar book or like a language book. It's not like prose. It's not I don't know, like Anna Karenina or like War and Peace. Like you probably in a prose you won't want to start from page like 137, obviously, because you're not gonna know what happened before. You need the actual story. But in a grammar book, you don't need to start in chapter 1 if chapter 1 talks about present progressive and you're good with present progressive. Go to the most advanced stuff that you need to work on. Like sometimes people don't really realize and they don't know exactly. Like I recently worked with a Korean girl and she was telling me how she has problems with everything. Like she was supposedly, she said like her grammar was bad, her pronunciation was bad, and she was really good. She was way better than she thought. So she couldn't identify. It's very important to know what you need to work on. And here is where sometimes the teacher would come and tell you, listen, I don't really think that you have problems with this, or ask the person, like, if you still insist that you have problems, why do you feel that you need, I don't hear any problems, I feel that you're good, but why do you still feel that you have problems with this? So the person can explain. But she was way better than she thought she was. So basically it's very important to identify what you need to work on and don't waste your time on stuff that you already know.
Okay, the obvious way, just go to a teacher and ask. Let's say you don't have this opportunity even for, okay, you can first you can book one lesson, like one consultation. And but sometimes it's like, what other ways, like if it, for instance, you advanced student or you are an intermediate student and you like
Yeah.
kind of know things, but what
Yeah.
other ways, like you go to do some tests, or how you can identify things that you don't know?
Just watch movies or catch yourself stuff that you don't understand, or even if you understand it, catch like a different grammar structure that person or an actor is using in the movie and ask yourself, wait, what was that? Like, go and listen to it again, try to see what they're trying to say, and that's how you identify your gaps. If you don't, it's like if you have no clue what they said or why they said it that way, then you know what you probably need to work on. We have so many sources these days. You have the internet, you have Youglish, you have like YouTube, of course, you have Netflix, all the TV shows, all the news channels. You can just, especially if you're not a beginner, if you're like a little bit more advanced, intermediate to advanced, you don't even need a teacher. I mean, you can learn so much just on your own. Of course, if you're consistent and if you really want to do it, because, if it's important to you. Some people are just like, okay, I'm just confused and I hate it and that's it.
Yeah,
Like, I
too
quit.
much work and like have like like 3 kids, 5 cats, and 6 dogs, and I don't have time for your stupid English and for your stupid grammar. I mean, I can speak, people can understand me. Why should I learn grammar, right?
Yeah, and exactly. I feel like when people hit this certain level, when other people understand them, then your incentive is not so high. Like you don't need to spend so much time because people understand you anyway. It just depends what you really want. Because some people are totally fine just being understood, and some people really want to step up their game and learn more and be more like. Some people just, it's very important for many people
Yeah.
not to make any mistakes. So, or to make the least number of mistakes they could make.
Mhm.
And then, like you can work on your skills, but it doesn't have to be like 5 hours a day. It can be, I don't know, like 15 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day. And it's still a good practice instead of just beating yourself and being like, oh, I'm never going to learn and I don't care anymore. I quit. Stupid English, so difficult.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like for me, like I think 2 years ago, it was like, especially when I didn't use English in my daily
Mhm.
life, and I was just using it like randomly and just for translation generally. Then I needed for my job, but generally I didn't use it. And like I imagine English in general, but grammar as well. It's like an ocean, like it's a huge ocean, and it's like an ocean of knowledge, and you like where to start, like I would like, and you like not like 24, especially if you're not 24 or even 20, and you're like, oh my gosh, like like I would never have time for it. Okay, so let's think about like kind of checklist for people who kind of know something about grammar, like they have this basic knowledge of where to put s or d, etc. Like what are your actions, what are the plan, how are we going to do this?
Yeah, well, it's step by step. Don't focus on, again, like the broad
Yeah.
definition of grammar. You need to know what you want to work on based on some like misunderstandings that you might have, or some gaps that you might have in your language and your grammar knowledge. So for example, let's say that you're struggling with past perfect, you can focus more on past perfect. So it's very important in the beginning to identify your just like stuff that you're aware of, and stuff that you might not be aware of, because a lot of mistakes people are aware of that they make, and there are tons of other things that they're not aware. So here they might benefit from a teacher, like a friend or somebody else telling them, but start from the things that you're aware of, because it's easy, because you already know that you need to work on. So identify those and just make a plan and just go day by day, like a half an hour a day. Make sure first that you're understanding the rule, and then just start practicing. Like for example, me in the beginning when I came to the States, I didn't know, like I couldn't even put a simple sentence together. So the first day I put the TV on and I just started repeating after. I remember that advertisement, my first ad in English. I still remember it because I didn't understand, but I was so fascinated. So
Yeah.
the woman was holding the phone and she was whatever she was advertising, I don't remember, but I remember the sentence, I dare you to pick up the phone and call this number. And I'm like, dare, what is this? I have no idea what that means. But I started like repeating in the same manner that she would say it. I dare you to pick up the phone and call this number. And eventually, I got it like in the context. I
Mhm.
understood what the word meant without even opening the dictionary.
Yeah.
Because like you see the visuals, you see the behavior of the person, but yeah, just like imitate other people or imitate a particular grammar structure that you're still not understanding 100%, but if you like say it so many times, you're kind of putting it into your muscle memory, and it's going to be easier for your brain eventually to detect when to use it.
So, like shadowing or mimicking people, like it's
Imitation for me, because I feel like a lot of people are really focused on grammar. Sometimes you're missing, your body or your brain, your subconscious knows that you're missing something in the language, but you don't know what it is. And that's why you like, oh, it's grammar. it's vocabulary. I just need to know more grammar, or I just need to know more vocabulary, which is not true in many cases. In many cases, you're probably missing, I don't know, a certain way of behavior that might put you in a more natural, might make you look more natural to other speakers of the language. Like, for example, I had this moment back in the days also, when I spoke some English already, but I wasn't really good. And then I remember a conversation. I'm saying conversation because it was more a monologue from this guy. He was talking something to me and I was nodding. And, you know, but I was doing it like in a very American way. Yeah, you know, in a way that would let the other person know that I'm listening. And at the end, like he was talking, and at the end, he was like, wow, your English is amazing. But I didn't even say anything. I barely said anything. It's just, that's literally, and I'm like, wait,
So what
I
do you
know.
like?
It's just a way of behavior that, you know, makes the other person feel that you understand, like you are a participant in that conversation. Some people just listen and they don't react. They're like this. And you don't know, like, okay, did you understand what I said? Like, are you interested? Or it's just, you know, it's a two-way conversation. So sometimes you just feel that it's grammar that what you need more, but sometimes it's a holistic way of behavior and speech and understanding and everything that you need in order to, you know, fit in more within. I mean, I can't even say within the culture because there's so many people with different cultures. It's not the goal to eliminate your culture. It's just the way that, like, to make you a better conversation partner.
Okay, great. So let's wrap it up. 5 things we need to do in order to fix the grammar.
Okay, number 1 is find the things that you're aware of. Make a list and just work on those things, grammar things. Things that you're unaware of course, are a little bit more difficult to find because obviously you're unaware of, but eventually you'll probably start noticing those as well. Then look for this particular grammar rule, like one of the things that you're aware of. Look for an explanation. Let's say now there are so many sources. Go to Google, Youglish, anything that you prefer, even dictionaries. And then once you understand it, you know, first thing is try to understand it. And once you understand it, then use it. Make sure that you start building your own phrases and sentences and just start using the particular grammar rule that you're working on.
Great. But I have a question for you. For instance, okay, I learned this rule, like I watched the videos, and then I'm trying to create a sentence, and then what if I'm not sure that the sentence is correct? Because like sometimes it's like it could be correct in grammar way, but what if it's wrong collocation or something that you just really what are you gonna do? Like you can't always like to call your friends or can you help me? You know, like, oh,
sure, yes.
Like all your life. Like, can you help me with this?
You can definitely help yourself these days with so many sources online. You can definitely help yourself without even asking anybody. So what I would do is, and what I did before is like kind of like a cheating. It's not even a cheating because, you know, it's a source. So I would go to Google, and let's say I'm thinking of a particular phrase, but I'm not sure if those 2 words or like several words in a row go together, like if I can use them in a certain situation. So I would go and I would put those words or a phrase in quotation marks in Google and then just see the results. Usually if nobody uses those words in the same way or like together, usually you would see the no results. But many times you're going to see so many sentences that people are using it, and then that's going to reinforce your idea, your thought of, okay, like I can definitely use those words together in this way. Make sure though to put it in quotes in Google, and it's so easy. And just to see how many people use it in what kind of situations and see different
yeah
things.
Yeah, it's such helpful advice. Okay, great. Finally, Daniela, tell us how people can actually find you and have a lesson with you. Do you have like one-on-one lessons or it's only group one?
Oh my gosh, I do. Yes, well, Probably just my email. Facebook, I'm on Facebook, my first and last name. And yeah, definitely you can send me a message on Facebook. You will find me very easily if you put my first and last name, because it's a it's a rare combination.
And you teach, what is your specialization? Is it grammar or it's everything?
Anything English. I love grammar, but I love pronunciation as well. So it's like a holistic approach of the language. And depending on what the person might be interested in, because some people, I've had this one student before who told me, you know, I don't care about pronunciation. I just need to know grammar rules.
Yeah.
Or some people are amazing with grammar already. They're very fluent, but they're unaware of certain pronunciation, maybe mistakes that they're making. And they want to like learn more or practice. So yeah, it depends what the person would want to.
Okay, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm absolutely like all over the moon. And you guys just you can ask I think we answered a lot of questions about grammar and how to fix it, and what are the steps to on this process. And if you have any other questions about grammar or about English in general, put them in the comments, and we will do our best to answer this, right, Daniela?
Of course, always.
Yeah, or maybe we will create a new video on one of your questions if it will be too like really, we need to elaborate on it, right? Okay, again, thank you very much for joining me, and hope to see you again.
Thanks for having me. Such a pleasure always talking to you.